Okay. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Angular Space Meetup. Here I'm not absolutely sure that we are live, but all the indicators are there. I see. People have joined here. So yeah, hello. Right. Today we are going to have our second session, second meetup, and we have a special guest. Before we start, let's recap a bit. Last week we had our first session with Michael Small. We talked about Angular signals, about their future, what to expect, and so on. Very lively discussion. Absolutely loved it. And now this week we have a guest whom we have kind of mentioned the previous time. And it's going to be Gérôme Grignon. So let me bring him up so he can tell you about himself and the topic for today. Hey, Jérôme.
Hello everyone. It's great. I see some friends watching the stream with Logan, Michael, and some other people. So it's really great to be here with you and the community. So yeah, about this topic and about myself, we will talk about what I call the hidden cost of Angular updates. We often see content about what's new, and so new features, new API, or some changes in the API and how you can make these changes. We have the Angular.love community who made a book about the Angular evolution, but I don't think we talk that much about how we end up updating the project itself, about dependencies. And yeah, honestly, that's where it can be really difficult. It can be really difficult about finding time or making sure that the leadership is understanding that it's important. And it can be difficult about some steps. We have one command that we will talk about later on from the Angular CLI to make it easy to update Angular, but it might not be that easy, in fact. So yeah, that will be the topic. And about me, I think that this topic, it could sum up what I do. It's about talking about the developer experience. I'm really into developer experience, and that's my job. And I'm working for a French HR company, and we have a developer experience team inside the company. So really focused about how we can enhance the developer experience. And I started working on my free time with such tools for Angular. So I made Angular Can I Use. I created a AI chat that we use. It's in dolmen.tools website, but I can already tell you that you will find it pretty soon in your as a MCP server. So I'm working to make it an MCP server. So you will be able to have a great content and up-to-date content about Angular to improve the output of agent in your work. So pretty excited for this part. And some also I'm working on something about auditing your package that you use, your dependency, to understand which one to use, about what is deprecated or not. So it's a lot of work, but I really enjoy sharing my content, helping the community. I'm also administrator on the official Angular Discord. I'm leading a French community with live event on YouTube like this one. And we made our first French conference about Angular last year. So yeah, a lot of topics. I really like the community.
Now I have like 3 questions. Question number 1: did I hear it correctly? And your company has like a specific team dedicated to developer experience? Oh wow! I wish we had
exactly.
that.
I think that's not that common. I think that for a lot of companies, we are a cost. We have to make software, but that's a cost. So you have to be performant, and we have to be performant. But that's really about you're costing money to the company. So be quick. And no, our company really invests about developers. So we have a lot of tools that we create.
Yeah.
I don't think there is a lot of company having that much tool that we have. We have a CLI just to set up our laptop for everything, to have Kubernetes, to have Redis, to have everything.
Oh wow!
I know I have some basic about Kubernetes, but I wouldn't be able to set up my laptop with it. And with in like 10 minutes, everything is done with just a command. We have a lot of tools about testing, SQL migration, for example, and just we create just a preview of an environment just to test if we won't break with the next migration. We have a lot of tools here to just make sure that everything is fine. We don't break the production, and it's pretty great.
Nice. And here I thought that like having one guy running around panicking about stuff happening on other people's laptops or how to onboard people is like the pinnacle of developer experience. But,
Yeah, exactly.
I love when people like automate stuff and make it easy. I used to try to do that with my teams, and if I had let's call it a department or a unit of people who are working in that direction, that would have been so incredibly easier. But the other question that I had in my mind, and it's a bit of a more, okay, you mentioned the Angular conference in France, and I remember seeing something. Was that the one called NG Baguette?
Yeah, exactly.
Incredible.
There was a conference before ours. It was NG Europe. So the last one was about 7 or 8 years ago. I think it was one of the first European conference. It was in Paris. And it was not from my team. It was from, if I remember, in fact, it was from the Belgium React community. It was created from the React Belgium community. And we started the new French community, which it's called Angular de France 2 years ago. And last year we decided to make a first conference, so we had to find a name. It could have been NG France or NG Paris, even if
but that's boring, right?
No, and in fact, there are some legal companies using the same name. So I didn't want to start being in legal office just for a conference. So we had to find a new name. And last year I attended NG Gluin. NG Gluin in Austria. And NG Gluin is some sort of meetup conference just on one day. And NG Gluin, NG for Angular, and Gluin it's for I know how to translate it in French, but not in English. It's a wine, hot wine. Because it's
so like beer.
Yeah,
that's what I hear.
It is during.
I think there's a name for it as a beer enthusiast. I think the drink like that is called like barley wine.
Maybe I don't know. I don't know.
There's a drink called that, which is like a very, very fermented beer.
It's in Christmas time, so there is a hot wine for in Christmas market. There were a lot
hot wine. Here it is.
There were a lot of Christmas market locally. It's in Vienna, and it's a cool name. It's not NG Austria or NG Vienna. It's a NG hot wine. So and and so it was pretty fun. So what could be a common name for a common name in France? So baguette is quite well known even outside of France. So NG baguette.
I do love NG baguette. Well, I love French people. I'm Armenian. It's like in our blood. We love French people. We love everything French. Everyone tries to go to France. Not very easy if you are from Armenia. Whoever is watching from Armenia will understand. But we usually prefer to at least one time try to go to France because we're friendly nations and everything. So we can kind of get started with today's topic, I think. And for everyone watching, you might get a feeling that today is a promotional episode for Gérôme because he has made so many great tools that we are going to explore. But please trust me, it's not only promotion for Gérôme. We're gonna do some hot takes and maybe talk about the more, enterprise side of updating Angular 2. And I think regarding your tools that we're going to show, we already have a question. The tools are public or they are developed by your company and they're not public ones. And
I think I will see. I was considering. We have a part of our. We have an internal CLI to set up our laptop, and part of it's about updating Angular dependency. And I wonder if we might find a way to open source it. Maybe I think for the moment the only open source part of the company is our design system. We have a dedicated UI library, but that's the only part that is really public.
So I think I personally would like to start with like showing off a bit of the tools that we do have in public, like maybe Angular can I use, and also the other one that was related to the third-party packages, right? I actually just forgot the name, but you want to share your screen or you want me to share the screen?
No, I will share later on. I think that's I will start from the very beginning about Angular updates. I was telling that you might find it easy to update Angular projects because we have a command which is called ng update, but I don't like using the word easy because you forgot about the pain, about the cries, about the blood before, and when it starts to be easy, it's because you had to go through a lot of work before. So it's easy now, but it was not easy before. And I think that we should start with the very, very beginning about dependencies and that. I mean, I don't know for you, but when I work on my first project, not even Angular, I started learning with Java. I have this Maven file with dependencies, with vision everywhere, and you have no idea what it's about. You know that it works. You know that there are some visions which are related, and at some point it doesn't work anymore, and you have someone telling you, "Oh, you just have to update, to download this vision," and maybe okay, let's do it, but you have no idea what it's about. You have no idea about the impact. You just know that if someone tells you that it will work, okay, let's change, but you have no idea. You're just getting started with a lot of stuff, and you might
in the comments we can already see people sharing that pain.
And that's really time consuming, and especially when you're getting started, because that's not just when you have some experience, it's easier, but we need to consider that for some people might just get started with Angular or just web development. And so in fact, at the very beginning, we have our Angular project, but in fact it's a JavaScript project. It's a project with a package.json, and that's where you will find your dependencies. So we are calling it an Angular project because that's a project with a framework. The framework is Angular. We are working in a frame, and so we don't initialize our project with npm init. We use Ngenu, so we have package registrar, if some boilerplate code, and we have a set of Angular dependencies. And we have already two kind of dependencies when we were getting started with an Angular project. The official one, so Angular Core, Angular Forms, and etc. And some other that are useful for the project, but not being specific to Angular. We have AricJS, we have TypeScript, we have TestLead, and we have a few ones that I don't remember. But yeah, we have these two sets. So we have the ones that are really specific to Angular, the one not being specific to Angular. And as the application grows, we have another type of a dependency which will be introduced in the project, which are what we could call the Angular third-party dependencies. So that's the community, the one created by the community, and that's dependencies as libraries using Angular themselves. So, for example, UI libraries, the Angular material official project, but it might be PrimeNG, it might be NG Bootstrap. There are more than 10,000 projects.
Oh, really? Is that like a real estimate? I've never wondered about it.
I can
like 10,000 Angular packages?
Yeah, I will start share my screen.
Okay.
But that's not an estimate, and that's why I will start share my screen. So that's why I move all my project or my tools down mentor tools. And about dependencies, I started working. It's just in progress. It's not publicly yet, but extracting how Angular package from npm. And that's quite a lot. And I can tell you that there are more than 10,000 because there is an API to query the npm registry, and there is a limit, and you cannot.
Okay.
Yeah, you can. There is a limit for each page of the content that you will query, and there is a limit of pages. And so at the end, you cannot query on a given search more than 10,000. So, 10,000, you need to consider that there are some that are deprecated, obviously. There are some projects that are duplicated. For example, PrimeNG. There was a lot of people just forking the project and publishing it on npm. It's useless. Completely useless because people just deploy them once. So you have one project, one fork for Angular 2, another one for Angular 11. It makes no sense. But I think that just people practicing, but that's purely useless. So there are a lot of I was mentioning deprecated projects. Some of them are deprecated because they are not maintained anymore, but sometimes people just deploy them once also, because they made a project for Angular 4, and no the newer version after that.
So I have a question about this particular screen, I think. So I think maybe two questions. First one is, so essentially the support versions that we see here, they are based on like the package JSON files of those specific versions of those libraries. Like, for example, if I have ngrx store version 17, its Angular dependency mentioned in its own package is per this table like 17.2, right?
Yeah, exactly. So the point for this this screen is to help you find the right version, the right compatible version. Because some tools, some libraries, like the first one is ng0. ng0 use the same Semver version that Angular. So you can see that there was 2020, 1919, and so on and so on. So it can be easy to understand which version you can use depending on your own Angular version, because when you want to update from 19 to 20, so to the latest version, it can be quite easy, in some way. It's not that difficult. But when you're on Angular 14 and you need to understand for each of your third-party dependencies which one is compatible, so you're on Angular 14, so you're migrating firstly on Angular 15, because you must upgrade from one version to another one. You must not skip versions, and so you need to find the next compatible one. You need to find the next compatible one because for a lot of libraries, they use what we call peer dependencies. You have three types of dependencies in package edition: dependencies, direct, dev dependencies, which only for local development, and peer dependencies. Peer dependencies, you don't use them for your project, your application that you will deploy for your users. It's meant for libraries, and it's about it's dependencies that won't be installed by the library itself, but the library will expect your project to have these peer dependencies. So if ng0, for example, and that's the example, has Angular 20 as a peer dependencies, it will expect your project to have Angular 20. So that's a way to synchronize and to make sure that it's using the right version.
I think, before we go on, I think lots of people kind of misunderstand what peer dependencies are supposed to be. Essentially, a peer dependency in a very abstract way, but it's something that the library can use to tell you what it expects from your project, essentially, right? So if a project says that it has a peer dependency of RxJS version, I don't know, 6, that would mean that it maybe doesn't directly require to install for it that version, but it expects your project to have already the RxJS 6 version or whatever package in question.
In fact, if the library, so RxJS, for example, your example, if it wasn't in peer dependencies, but in dependencies of the library, when you run npm install or pnpm install or whatever you use, it will just install RxJS for this library. But moving into peer dependencies is about a contract, in fact, between the library and the application, setting that you have to synchronize with this given version. It's like a quality contract from the library creator stating that I have this ng0 Angular 20 version, so not Angular version, 20 version of ng0. So my contract as a library creator of ng0 is to tell you that you can use this version with Angular 20, and it will work. I built this version of the library just for you.
Could a peer dependency ever lie?
Yeah, different type of lies. It can be the version that you will have can be a specific version, a given version, or it can be a range. A range can be as small as only minor or patch version. So in fact, you don't want I will use again ng0. I don't work for ng0. It was the first one, so let's stick with it.
It's a great library.
Yeah, you don't want the contract to be just about Angular version 20.2.4, for example. You want to be for the whole major version of Angular 20. It would be a nightmare. So you can have this small range stating that you accept also minor or patch change versions, or you can have a range. Really, more range can be you can use the latest version and the one before, so Angular 20, Angular 19, or accepted, or it can be let's state that I'm sure that it will work starting from Angular 16 to whatever new version is. I would just to explain for people not being used about version. I was talking about minor and patch, and I can share my screen again if you can. Because we use semantic version. In fact, semantic version, it's about three information: major, minor, and patch. So, for example, we are currently on Angular 20.2. I don't remember if I don't remember.
Yeah, I'm gonna have some hot takes about this, but
yeah. And so there are three information: major, minor, patch. Patch is really about bug fix, vulnerabilities. So if it happens when it has to happen, and it can be today, it can be tomorrow. That's not something you really plan. You need to fix something. You release a new version with changing the patch bot. I will move to the major part before talking about the minor. Major is really about some incompatible API changes. So you're breaking something in your library, Angular
breaking changes.
You break something. You have to release the major version. We have to remember that for Angular, we also have a plan with a major version each 6 months. So we might have some major version without breaking changes. Doesn't mean that we move to another major that Angular team have to find some breaking changes to make. But that's where it will happen. And it also means that it's not major in a way that all major features should be inside. We can have major features into the minor part. For example, we had for the signals API, we had the queries, the inputs, the content children. It was in Angular 17.1 and .2, so it was really major in terms of features. But it's not where we don't have to release a new major features to release new major features. Sorry, we don't have to release a new major versions for major features.
To add like new features, right?
Yeah.
So essentially, it's like a patch. We haven't yet talked about patch, but as you can see, a patch is something really like under the surface. And the minor is on the surface, and major is like breaking the surface.
And minor is about everything. It's about that's the life cycle of your library. So it happens differently depending how your library work. For Angular, for example, that's the main part of release between each major version. So you have each every 6 months you have this major version, and inside you have minor when it's needed. And for a lot of libraries, they mostly release minor version. When they have their scope, everything is down. It's just when they have to release a new version, it's just about, for example, updating the P dependencies or making some minor versions. So they don't have breaking changes. So we can have a lot of minor versions in the library.
Yeah, it would be pretty evil to put like breaking changes in a minor version.
Yeah. And so to come back to P dependencies and about a range, so we can have a range, a big range, but it can be fine. I mean, when you have a small library, I maintain a small library called Editing Place in the Nginx organization. And I mean, I think that the latest update has been maybe 2-3 years ago. So in fact, the P dependencies is about Angular 16 or plus. So everything newest is fine. And there is no breaking change that in the library. There's nothing I really need to update. So that's some strategy that you can use as a library creator to state that, okay, I'm pretty sure that there won't be any breaking change for the next version of Angular. So I can say that it supports starting from Angular 14, for example, Angular 16, and only if I need it to, I will make a new version. But it can be a great strategy because it avoids people having issue, because when they will update their project, they will have an issue with dependencies because you're strictly stating that it only support Angular 19, Angular 20. But it depends on the scope.
You could, yeah, I just wanted to add there that when you are doing the update and in general, like upgrading any package or installing, you could see those peer dependency warnings, which usually go ignored for most people. But you can see that NPM is actually trying to tell you that there is an incompatible peer dependency. For example, this project wants TypeScript 4.7, but you have TypeScript 4.5 or something like that. So especially when doing like an Angular update, would be super useful to not ignore those things, right? And by the way, Angular itself, it kind of adheres to semantic versioning. The only maybe small difference is that they have the scheduled major releases. As far as I understand, not every major release of Angular had any breaking changes. I remember there was like Angular 10 probably. It was one version after Ivy or something, after Ivy became stable. It was a release that essentially like upgraded TypeScript version and did some minor changes, but that didn't contain anything breaking as far as I remember. But if Angular is doing breaking changes in its own API, like removing some deprecated, very old stuff or whatever, that always goes into a major version. So they just have the scheduled major updates. If there are breaking changes, the breaking changes are going to be in those updates.
Yeah, exactly. And the Angular team help us to migrate. In fact, there was 3 ways to update dependencies. One of the most well-known one outside of Angular, it's about using npm update. So npm update, run npm update in your project, and it will update all minor and patch versions of your dependencies. So it could be useful, but we'll see there are some limitations. You could also just run npm install dependencies with the target version, but you will miss ng update. So ng update is a command provided by the Angular CLI. We have ngserve, ngbuild, nggenerate, and we have also ngupdate. So the thing about ngupdate is that it will make 2 different tasks. The first one is about updating to a target version, because when you run ngupdate, you tell it which version you want to use, what's the target version. So it will install the new version, and optionally it can run some migration scripts. So on each new version, the Angular team or library creators, because library creators for their own Angular libraries can use ngupdate too, and you can define a set of migration scripts that will be run. So for example, we have one for Angular for the last minor version. We have one for I don't remember sadly.
Neither do Right. We have I think migration script for like signal outputs and queries and so on. But I don't
Yeah,
think
that's another topic. In fact, I prefer
Yeah.
to differentiate that. Yeah, there is ng update, and so you should use ng update. And the cool thing about ng update is that if there are no script to be run, it's fine. And if there were no script, ng update will just run npm install under the hood. So if you don't, if you have no idea about a third party Angular library, if it supports ng update or not, you run ng update, and yeah, it will just update your dependency if there is no script to be run. And yeah.
So wait, sorry, but so do I understand correctly? I'm not an Angular library maintainer, but this is very interesting. So essentially, Angular packages can separately have scripts that can be utilized by ng update.
Yeah.
Oh wow! I actually didn't know that. So how does that work?
Yeah, it was. If I'm right, it was exposed starting with Angular 6 that you can use ng update you can just create a collection of script that will be run on ng update. So
okay. So it's, so like if someone updates their Angular version, and then they want to upgrade the third-party library, we can do something like ng update, for example, like ngrx effects.
Yeah.
And it will so library authors can put like their own migration schematics or something.
Yeah.
Oh wow, that's really nice. So Michael here says, yeah, ngrx ng extension and botnet have lib schematics. I haven't paid very much attention to that. I'm sorry. I didn't know that.
I can check it live, but
no, this is really interesting. Also, by the way, if someone is really new to updating Angular apps, you can always visit the update.angular.io website, right?
Yeah.
And
Can you
mention your versions.
Can you share my screen?
Yeah.
And yeah, we are in ngrx project on GitHub right here.
Nice.
And we have this schematic project with migrations, and so we define a migration with a description and a factory. So it's a project, so it's mean for the road for v6, and you have all the logic, and it's about for this part it seems quite simple about updating package, but you can do everything you want. It's about like you can see with ng update about changing some logic, updating code, adding some files. And so there are also this migration script that we have prompt by running an ng update, and there are other ones. You were talking about signals. There are some control flows also. I can share about them. Sorry, too many Angular project. And we have it's in update guide. I don't remember.
I think we have until you find it. I think we have a question. So library could run a schematic automatically on ng update. I don't think so. I mean, Jérôme will know better, but I think the thing is that you can.
Exactly. If you run ng update, it's not ng update for Angular core, obviously.
Yeah.
In fact, when you run, I will take the update guide. So update guide, if I want to update, the first command is this one.
Yeah.
ng update.
And I always wondered, why does it say ng update, Angular core, Angular CLI?
And
why
that's
is it just ng update?
That's a good question. In fact, when you have ng update, you can define when you have ng update in your library. A library can here the library is Angular, and your library is about a set of packages. You have different packages like Angular, Angular core, Angular forms, Angular animation, and in fact you can set one of them as a pointer. So in fact, when you type ng update Angular core, it won't just update Angular core. It will update all the packages that are related to your library.
Yeah.
And Angular CLI is a dedicated one. It's not. In fact, Angular core refers to the Angular/Angular GitHub project, and Angular CLI is another repository on GitHub. And so I can't remember. Migration, exactly. So we have all these migrations, and these migrations are different ones. That's a migration that you can use. You can use by running a specific command, nggenerate. Nggenerate, we are used to nggenerate component, service, guard, whatever. And what they do is that they are creating files, updating code, and you could define any type of nggenerate command. And nowadays, Angular is used to provide these commands, not to create services component, but to update your code. So you have a set of nggenerate commands for control flows. It will update all your all structural directives to
control flow upgrade schematic is like really a beast, because we tried it on a bunch of projects of different sizes, like huge projects, and it ran so smoothly. Like we had zero issues. It just migrated, we did a quick check, everything worked, and we then just ditched the ngif, ngfor, and so on, directed. Really crazy stuff.
And they work really pretty well. There was some edge cases, but I mean, even for the Angular 20 version, there were a lot of bug fixes for a lot of edge cases, so you can use them. It's quite safe, and I think that it could be the first introduction about one of the biggest difficulties of updating a project is about having a leadership understand that it's useful. It doesn't take that much time. It can if you have like Klaus having more than 30 applications, but it can be easier than you think. And sometimes we have discussion with people wondering, having some issues about updating. And I mean, for this command, if you feel that it might be too easy to obey, you just run the command just before you go in a meeting, and you come back to your laptop and you will see that everything will be fine. And so it's just some part of updating your project, but give it a try. Don't feel like should I have for permission? No, don't ask for permission.
Yeah, absolutely. Just if you want to try out, you can just create a separate branch, try it out there and see how it goes. Usually all of those changes are easily revertible, so don't let fear hold you back.
But strategy, create a dedicated branch with Git, and you will have different commands that you might use. ngupdate with Angular core, nggenerate, and updating third-party libraries. Just make a commit after each step. So if something is wrong, you just have to come back to the last commit. And because there are also a lot of people being stuck because they lost how it works with Git, how is the Git history about, and just a dedicated branch. So at some point, if you're too busy, you can come back to a feature, and it will be still there, and it won't handle you with another step.
I think a lot of people aren't aware about the migration schematics because I keep hearing from people, like statements that make sense in terms of, Angular changed something again, Angular changed something again. And I agree that the pacing of these recent releases has been a bit, not like chaotic. It was pretty much ordered. We have a strict scheduling. We have only like working stuff in the major releases and so on. But a lot of stuff changed, and people often assume that, oh, you know what, like migrating away from ng, that is going to be a big pain. But essentially it might take you like under an hour because there is a schematic. Same goes for like signal input output updates. We tried that, and it handled like 80% of the cases, and the other cases there's, by the way, in lots of schematics there are useful options of like adding to do comments. You can, if somewhere a schematic is doing something that it might feel is not safe, a very good example is like the input migration script, migrating decorator based inputs to the function based signal inputs, right? There you have situations where it could be used in a way, the previous input, the decorator based one, that it wouldn't be safe to update because, for example, new input signals, they are read only, right? You cannot set values on them, but previously you could modify the value of an input inside the child component. And if you have manipulations like that, the schematic can either try to force the update, it usually doesn't unless you tell it to do it explicitly, or it can go safely, but you can add an option where the schematic will automatically add comments saying to do, for example, migrate this input manually. So these tools are very safe, and they are also very versatile, I would say. Like they would get you covered in, even in the situations when they kind of fail to do what they need to do, they will at least tell you, okay, this one I didn't manage to do, you have to attend to it manually. So I really love that approach.
Yeah, and you was talking about I don't know exactly what are the available ones, and one way to get the information is the new Angular CLI MCP server.
Oh, now we're talking.
Yeah, so if you're not, if you don't really know MCP server is like an interface between an API between your agent that you use in WebStorm, for example, or Cursor, or whatever, and where either your data or your real API work. So that's a way to connect them. So it can be used mainly for two types of tasks, either to get information. So that's really about this MCP server with Angular. So to get best practices, there is to get a list of projects. A list of projects is more like a test, I'd say, to see if the MCP server work as expected. It's just bringing the list of projects from your Angular JSON file, so you can do it yourself. But yeah,
you can use it to modify the way your coding assistant agents work, for example.
Yeah, and you can also search for documentation to get the information. And it's not used by this MCP server, but another common task is to make post or update changes to your API. So with some agent is used, for example, if you're building an application with Supabase and you have a Supabase MCP server, you will be able to make migration, SQL migration, for example, directly from WebStorm to Supabase. So that's really about connecting everything together. And so it can be a way to get the information about what are the available tools. It's not merged yet. I think it's still in draft or not, or in review, but there is on the Angular CLI repository a pull request about having a dedicated tool on this MCP server to update projects, which would
I think Angular did a lot of big steps in terms of like supporting AI tools. We have now, I think we have publicly available the LM txt files, right? Which you can put in your config.
If you can use the MCP server in your web store, whatever, I'd recommend just to stick with it and not to use the LLM file.
Yeah.
Because the LLM file is a static one. So
Yeah.
You can. The good thing is you can update it yourself if you have different state of mind about what is the best practice with Angular. You can update it. But if you just want to use it, in fact, that's what is available with the get best practices of this MCP server. So it will be updated with each new version of Angular, so you can use it.
And now with the MCP server, and we're talking about updates, I think, are there any ways for these MCP servers to help you with that in terms of like you are doing an update or you're on a specific version, and if you are making this, for example, you're using the search documentation tool, which is an online tool, right? It's not doesn't only work locally. Because the specific documentation, can it, like, if you're using it with your coding agent, for example, can it help it figure out that, oh, this issue you are having is actually because you're on a version that doesn't support this thing, or maybe has a bug on this specific, you need to upgrade or something like that?
Yeah, so the search documentation tool is not local only, because under the hood it depends on Algolia. That's the search tool use it. So it uses the same search tool that the Angular documentation itself use. So that's really about live information. So you can get some limited information, about compatibility. For, I don't remember for each. There is some API which is experimental since maybe for resource. For resource, there is this information experimental since Angular 19, but sometimes it's not that quite easy to understand the dependencies and the compatibility. And the point is to talk about another one tool, the Angular can I use that I created, because for like a lot of people, I know I'm in my job with open source project, I'm always on the latest version, so I know what the current state of Angular, about what is available, what is stable, what is not stable. But if I had to land on a Angular 15 project, seriously, for a lot of features, I wouldn't be able to.
Is this available as an MCP server?
Is it available?
Because, I feel like this has more of a tabular great view for the LLMs to consume.
So we don't have this information with the Angular documentation, because it's the search documentation is searching on the live documentation, so it's on the Angular 20. So I have this as just a table, but I'm about to release a MCP server for it, so you will be able to get the information directly. So it will work. I just need to make some tests, but I think that I will release it next week if everything is fine. So to get all this information,
I think the other one that you showed, the compatibility metrics of the third-party libraries with Angular versions, that would go crazy as an MCP server.
It will be
because before the update you could just ask for Claude, can I update these projects? What are the issues? And it will kind of nudge you in the correct direction.
Yeah, exactly. One information about the Angular features, Angular visions. Sometimes people ask, what is the unstable versions of Angular? And because for some frameworks, for some libraries, there are some versions that are so-called unstable, but there is no unstable version with Angular. A version is always stable. We might have unstable features, but there is no unstable version in Angular. That it might be obvious for a lot of people, but yeah, if you come from another framework, sometimes some version are defined as unstable. But there might be some unstable features, so they're either in a prototype. A prototype is really about a feature that is in the code base but not exposed or really not ready at all. That's the example for single forms that they have been merged in the main branch of Angular repository, but it's not ready yet. Then the first somehow public step is the experimental one. Experimental means that there might be big changes, or it might not be released at all. It's experimental, we try, and sometimes
it might go away completely, might not become actually part of the stable versions.
And then there is a developer preview. We had a lot of features in developer preview. We can see on screen that differ for switch control for which started in developer preview, and then it's stable and other stages that you can be used to with deprecated and removed. But most features are, even if they're deprecated, are not removed. Some are really removed. But
I'm curious which one. What was like a removed feature in Angular? Angular is like very backwards compatible stuff. And GCC, right?
I can tell you, we had lately. We had. Sorry for.
I've seen some. These ones are testbed.get.
Yeah, it has been deprecated since Angular 9, if I remember.
Really?
Yeah, and
how long did they wait to remove it?
Because we use .inject now.
Yes.
I think it was Angular 9, and I feel like they realized that it has been deprecated for way too long, so they remove it with Angular 20. And I don't remember if it was just deprecated or removed. We have, as part of the after render, after every render was called after render before Angular 20.
But you don't have after render here anymore.
I think it was removed directly because it was really about changing the names of.
But it wasn't removed, it was renamed.
Yeah, it was renamed.
Yeah.
But
from the perspective of a code base, it's the same thing.
Yeah. If your code doesn't work anymore because something has been renamed, it's like it's removed for you.
And for everyone watching, just take a look at this huge table and let's give a minute of appreciation. I think it took a lot of work to get this together.
You won't find all Angular features inside because it would be way too. I think it would be a full-time job. It's really.
It would be a lot of noise too. We don't need every single small function that got there or didn't get there, but the main thing is that we can easily search and find stuff and make decisions based on that. That's really great tool. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, so that's really about features not released as stable yet for most of them, because it's really about is it available, but in what's the shape? Is it stable yet?
We have a question here. If you manually update those, or do you have something that queries the API tags?
Yeah, mostly manually. So it means that I'm looking at changelog a lot.
Do you have something like a buy me a coffee or whatever, so people can send you money, because this is like very important work that you're just doing.
Just in the left bottom corner of.
Okay. Please, everyone, if you would click here.
I have some scripts that I use sometimes on the golden. You will learn about Angular a bit. Let's go on GitHub. The API is exposed in the golden folder, and you can find the public API, and for example, for the core,
all right,
and as a Markdown file, and there is for example deprecated. So there's some information that I can find here, but
but you would need to filter some of them.
I made a script for this part, but I made a simple one. I didn't want to go in nested features, in nested any possible properties. Because
for example, like this one, right? You don't want that in your.
I could add it, but I'm trying to make it easy to
more developer friendly.
Exactly.
Not everyone cares about like analyze for entry components constant that was there and now isn't there.
We were talking about the P dependencies, and that you can, when you're installing a new version, you suddenly have your errors about P dependencies because it doesn't match. So there are different ways to resolve it. The first way to use the right version, obviously, so you don't have issue at all. So it means that if tomorrow, let's say that's the release of Angular 21, it will be another. Let's say it's tomorrow. You might not want to update directly because your project might depend on other libraries, third-party libraries, and they're not ready. For most of them, they're not ready yet. So you might have to wait some time. So at this point, you still have the choice to say, okay, I will update to Angular 21, and you will have this error. So it doesn't work. Like you have this error, so it will make your build fail locally on your CI, whatever. But you can still resolve it. You can depend on your package manager. So if you use npm in the package .json, you can use overrides property, where you can define how to override some dependencies. For Yarn, it's the resolution property. And for PNPM, that's also the override, but PNPM is less restrictive. It's more permissive about these P dependencies rule. So it will provide you the errors as warning. So so it won't break.
But other than that, there are big differences. Some people are using Yarn, some people are using PNPM. I tried using PNPM; it was mostly fine. I don't know why I'm currently using npm again. No idea. I was fine with PNPM.
I won't be good at providing a real comparison. I'm used to use PNPM nowadays.
Yeah,
it's faster. It's way faster.
Yeah, makes sense.
But you can resolve it this way because, I mean, in fact, even if P dependencies is about this contract between the library creator and your project, stating that I ensure you that my new version is compatible with Angular 21, for example. I mean, for most libraries, the new Angular version won't introduce breaking changes. So you can use these overrides, resolutions, property in package.json just to override and say, okay, I tell you that it will work and it will be fine. So that's a living part of your package.json, because at some point you want to remove this override, you want to update them. but it can be a solution if on day one of the Angular 21 version you want to update your project. But yeah, you might want to wait because you want to make sure that the library creator made a dedicated version, because dedicated version means that they build the version, they tested it, so with the new Angular version. But yeah, if you want to wait, that was the point of the first tool that I show you to find the right version for depending on your Angular version for each third-party libraries. It can be easy. Yeah, for the last one, you're on Angular 20 currently. You use the latest version of the Angular library. You have two scenarios. Either it will work, either it will not work, but you know that it's not ready yet. But if you're on Angular 14 to Angular 15, if it doesn't work, in fact, you have no idea, because you firstly need, in fact, to find the right version. If you use the latest one might just be compatible with Angular 20. So if you're on Angular 15, you need to find the right one for the next version. So that was the point of the tool. So I'm inspecting the whole NPM registry, looking in projects to make this matrix to find the proper information.
So if we kind of look at this, that imagine this Angular developer who is a bit confused about all of this stuff. They have a big project, lots of dependencies. What would you say is a sort of strategy that they can use? First, they need to do this step, then this step to figure out if they want to update, and then when they want to update, they need to do these steps, and after the update, they need to do these steps. Aside, of course, from the stuff that update Angular.io provides.
So the first thing is a dedicated Git branch, as we thought, because it's really dedicated in a branch. Then the first step is really about using the update guide from Angular. So from one version to another, you don't skip a version. So even if you're on Angular 16, you move to the next one, to 17. You click on show me the update, and it will show the options. You have the steps. You have some option. I'd recommend always to be on advanced, because I was not used to
no matter the project size.
Yeah, but in fact there are some details which are it's quite. There are some details sometimes about, for example, the after render that we are talking about. It's not in basic, but in fact, I'd say that even in a basic project, you can use it. So go in advance, and you might find some information you are not used to, but there is nothing wrong having a bit some more information that you need. So that's the first step. And the second one will be to go with your third-party libraries. So use ngupdate also. So ngupdate ng0, for example, or ngupdate ngbootstrap. It might just, and for most of them, it will just run an npm install or npm install. But it's for some of them there is a migration script. It will run the migration script.
Always use it for updates instead of npm.
Yeah, and you will have all the libraries in your project. For example, to deal with that, you have a lot of libraries, so they're really unrelated to Angular, but we have to update them at some point. I don't recommend focusing on them when you're updating your Angular version, because suddenly can be a lot of things to consider that are not related at all with other stuff that you're updating. So some of them might introduce breaking changes. So yeah, I think that you need to find the right balance sometimes about focusing about Angular updates, Angular vision, sometimes about other libraries, because making everything in the same time can be really overwhelming.
I think one issue you mentioned third-party libraries not related to Angular, which you might be using, and I think the main issue with them would be the TypeScript version, right? Angular loves doing something like, oh, in this version we upgraded TypeScript to this modern version, and maybe you have a third-party library unrelated to Angular that just doesn't support some or uses something from TypeScript that is now, for example, removed or deprecated. Or I don't know if stuff gets removed from TypeScript. I'm unsure about that.
Yeah,
But it could be breaking.
I know that for a project lately, I had issues, for example, with Angular ESLint or even for Jest. In fact, we have Jest as the dependencies for Angular, and I will need to figure out why we have Jest in Angular, but we have Jest in Angular and we have Jest with Angular preset Jest preset Angular library, and I think that the Angular preset, the Jest preset Angular, use the latest version of Jest, but Angular is still on the 29 version, I think. So there is a conflict.
Now we have a question about package.json. I think is it a good idea to remove carry? How is that word read? I know what it means. I don't know how to read it actually.
Caret and
Never pronounced it. Caret and tilde from package.json.
Only if you're able to explain why you do so. Yeah. Otherwise, it can be a good idea if you really want to freeze in some way on a real vision. I mean, for I'd say a recent event. For example, you are not confident that NX is not providing vulnerable versions. We are.
Oh no, you didn't just go there.
That's not. In fact,
sorry for everyone who loves NX.
No, that's an interesting story. In fact, for internal need, really about the GitHub repository themselves. GitHub repository, when you're an open source project, you have requests from users, so it goes in issues, and you have some ways with you can create GitHub actions for a lot of stuff, and GitHub action is a way to work with the GitHub API. And they made a GitHub action just to investigate about the title or the description of issues. I don't remember exactly what it was about. I made one for StackBlitz, for example. They had a lot of blank issues, so issues with nothing inside, and I made them for them a GitHub action which automatically close all these issues. I mean, if the issue is really empty, there is no point at all. And so they made this GitHub action, and in fact, if I'm not wrong, it acted like SQL injection. So SQL injection is about using a way to provide you have, for example, an input in your application, and a hacker will include the SQL query inside, and if you are not protected at some point, it will hit your database, and for example, it can just delete your database. So
like SQL injection.
Yeah, exactly. So
and now we have AI prompt injection.
And so, yeah, in this situation, if I remember, the GitHub action was a way to enter into all the infrastructure about GitHub, about the NX project, and they were able to to create versions with vulnerabilities. So it was so in this situation, if you think that you want to make sure that you're using exact number for a vision, that because if you use caret or tilde, if you have minor visions changes or patch version changes, it will use them instead on CI, for example. But if you want
wait. So sorry, I have maybe I do confuse something there. So if you put the caret in front of it and run npm install, for example, you might not get exactly that version that mentioned there, right? You can get, for example, a larger patch version, a later one. But isn't the point of running npm CI to run it, or does it only concern like minor versions but not patch versions?
And npm CI will work as your with the exact version, but
okay.
but you have to use npm CI. You need to remember that it's quite useful. On the CI, don't use npm install, use npm CI instead.
Yeah, but doesn't that kind of defeat the purpose? For example, we put the caret because we think maybe we are on the, let's say, 3.7.1 version, but maybe the 3.7.9 version introduces maybe a bug fix or a vulnerability fix, right? So we put the caret in the hope that, okay, we will get maybe a safer version where maybe bugs or vulnerabilities are removed. But then on the CI, where you to take your code to production, essentially, you run with the version that is not exactly the version that you thought you might get when running it locally. What's the point then?
Yeah, so the thing is, there is a new bug fix. If you don't have the tilde of if you're using npm CI, it means that you will have to make changes. You have to build a new version. You have to push new code to update your log file. So your npm CI will use a new version. So that's one way to go. Another way would be to have some tool like Renovate or another one, which will create pull request or merge request on GitLab when they detect new minor or at least patch versions. So it will update your package.json file, and when you will run npm install, you will use the new one. So it depends on the way that you want to work. But at read state that if you remove tilde of the caret, it can be fine. But you really need to understand it. You need to be in a specific use case. If you're able to explain me why, I think I'm fine.
Yeah. So we have another question, which I think we covered maybe previously during the discussion. Angular provides migration schematics. How can we keep all in sync with the update? What are the best practices to follow? Yeah, to recap, essentially what we talked about, use the schematics that are not only automatically running with the update. There are a bunch of other schematics. We covered the signal input migration, the control flow syntax, create branches, try them out. If you see they go well, just, put that forward, maybe merge those into your working branches. And maybe more general advice could be useful here too.
The ng generate ones, so about updating control flow signals, they're one-shots ones. They're not schematics evolving over time. If you run them, you won't have to run them in the next version. If you I don't think we had yet some situation when there was an overlap between these schematics. But I think that if there is a new need, there will be a new schematic to be provided. But there were some bug fixes, obviously, but no updates about the scope of each schematic.
So before we wrap this up, I think it would be good to also talk about the I like to call it the political side of updating Angular apps. Not everyone has these issues, but a lot of people, I guess more than 50% of people have these two scenarios. Either the management demands us to do an update to keep in sync, I don't know, stuff like that. Or the other side that, oh, we want to do updates, we are stuck on older versions, but the client is demanding only new features. They don't care about Angular upgrades or Angular versions. So what are some good arguments here and there? Like, do you need to be very cautious and, oh, I have to stay on this old version, or do you need to like jump into every new version? Oh, Angular 20 is up, I need to upgrade right now. What's your approach?
I know that a lot of companies are waiting for example, they are currently updating to Angular 19 because we are on Angular 20. So just one version before. So it's like stating that the latest one might not be stable, and yeah, just to be one version before, which in some way is fine because the LTS, the long-term support, is about the free latest version. So you're still when you're outside of the long-term support, it means that there won't be bug fix, for example. So you're stuck. If you have a bug already to an Angular version, the Angular team won't fix it on Angular 12, for example. But if you're still in this scope of long-term support, you're fine. So you can. It's fine to wait for the next version before moving. We are on Angular 20. Let's update to Angular 19. As a developer, you will miss the latest features. So you might want to play with these new features already. But I mean, we have new ways to new APIs, change on APIs. It's about making a better developer experience, about performance. But at the end, I mean, starting from Angular 4, we were already able to make everything that we can do right now. Less performance, maybe, but I mean, for a lot of use case, you can use functions in your template and you won't have performance issues. Bad practice, but I mean, seriously, for a lot of application, if you have a huge dashboard with a table with a function in each cell, yes, obviously you will have issues. But for a lot of pages, you won't have issues. And with Angular 4, we could use Quad, resolver, interceptors. We have everything already. So we don't have the huge we miss a feature which can be useful for the end user. That's really the point. If, for example, you couldn't use a router, for example, already, or some other key feature, that would be really an issue. But you don't have to forget that bug fix, bug on Angular might impact your end user, vulnerabilities also. So you need to be careful about that. And I think that's the part for people I'm able to update today. Can I? So yeah, you can. About people having issues with leadership, because updating is not a new feature for the user. So what's the value?
Not a lot of money in that.
No. So I think that the bug fix and the vulnerabilities part can be useful to say that it might affect someone might hack the application, and we might have issues this way. Even if honestly most of issues that you could have in Angular application about vulnerabilities is mostly about your work, about how you make your application. Do you have CSP protection? Do you have server API tokens in your front? Or yes, so many reasons to make it really bad. I'd say that one way would be to introduce cooldown time in your project. So, for example, every you have on a 2-month schedule, you have 6 weeks for features and 2 weeks of cooldown for update, small tasks that you will never make. And we all have this backlog with issues created 5 years ago, and no one is working on them. So that's the opportunity. Yeah, you have 2 weeks to work on this small task, on update, and bug fixes, sometimes refactoring tests, because no one care about testers also. So
Yeah.
for me, that will be the solution. It might be you need to it might be due also to your team. I think that people not caring about updating projects. So yeah, I think at some point you can't. There's some part of your application, some technical aspect that you can maintain on your own. It must be the responsibility of the whole team. For example, the most obvious example is if you have a design system or a common library, an internal common library. At some point, if it's just one guy, one girl in the application, in the team, maintaining it, at some point it will fail. People will leave, for example, and no one will want to work on it. So it's really about working as a team.
Yeah, that's a really good rundown. Actually, when I mentioned like the political aspect, political comments started to come up. I want to also address some of those. So one of the struggles about the cost of Angular update is the learning curve. As ex-trainer, I have encountered many developers feeling overwhelmed and lost, and switch project to Blazor framework. Wait, people who work with Blazor? Now that's the interesting part for me here. I've never knew anyone working with Blazor, although because the company that I work at, we're using C# and like .NET frameworks extensively. A lot of backend developers here were excited that they're gonna ditch us. The front-end teams, it didn't happen, but this is a valid concern, I would say, right? But and maybe the next comment is also essentially about the same thing: how to motivate people to keep with the speedy trend of these updates.
Yeah, we had a discussion lately in my company about Senior Store. Senior Store is really trending nowadays. It's awesome. I love working with it. And we have a team with full stack developers. It's more we have some teams where we have backend developers, front-end developers, so people really being able to focus on understanding and being up to date with their expertise. But at some point, we all know that full stack is not you can't learn everything, you can't focus on everything. And they are already, like most projects, when you have to work with state management, they just have services, and it worked. It's fine. I mean, even Minko Getchev stated himself lately that for most projects, he just use services for state management. And like everyone else was using single store, and we have even an internal library with some feature store for pagination, for a lot of stuff inside our project. And they felt like they were missing an opportunity, but they had to learn something new, wondering what's the value. I mean, do you have an application which is working in a way that, services are perfectly fine. I mean, you don't have to use as the latest state management solution. I mean, We are not React, where you have to, if you don't use the latest library out there, you're not using what's.
Yeah.
So yeah, services are perfectly fine, and
No need to be too hasty.
yeah, exactly. And honestly, I understand that we had a lot of changes. I mean, we always make Angular application. We have some, the patterns are still quite the same. I know we have some API for some usage, but a lot of this API changed lately. I mean,
Yeah.
the only we changed we changed the control flow. We changed, in fact, the way that we are using local state management from behavior subject to signals, using signals everywhere. We had a lot of changes. We have changes with the forms. We had the first signal inside the router with the 20.2 version, with the new router dot current navigation. So I can understand that at some point it might feel like, yeah, you're just changing the API, but it worked before, and why I have to learn something new. And I think that for a team struggling to make all this update, we have the ng generate, but ng generate is making the stuff for you, but it doesn't make you understand the changes. So you have to learn.
Yeah.
And honestly, I will be perfectly fine with the team stating that, yeah, we don't have the time. We are updating versions. We are making everything up to date, but at some point, yeah, we are not confident with this migration script because we wouldn't be able yet to make code with this new way. So it still works. I mean, even if structural derivatives are deprecated now, they still work. So,
Yeah.
there is some parts of myself I could say, yeah, use latest stuff. It's better, it's more performant, it's made for you. But at some point, yeah, you need to consider that for some teams, it's not just about leadership thinking about features. It's also about, do you have time to learn? It's not just about making the changes. But I need time to learn a new pattern sometimes, a new way to make stuff. I mean, when you're used to, you know that with the new signal API, you don't use any changes, ng on changes anymore. You use effect when you need, or you have some patterns that you are different. But yeah, just make sure that your application work. Don't feel the mail for too much.
Yeah. From myself, I would add that, first of all, if we are doing the learning part, fortunately, it's a big part of our trade, right? It's like 3 years ago, GPT was an obscure thing in terms of like, okay, who was interested in machine learning and so on, knew about GPT and maybe some enthusiasts. Now today, everyone is running to learn about LLMs, about transformers and so on. And sometimes it's kind of forced on us, not in a bad way, but okay, the technology is moving this way. We have to keep up, we have to understand. But about the learning curve, actually, lots of improvements in Angular, lots of recent changes, in my opinion, were actually to make the learning curve way smoother. Like the control flow, right? Previously, if I wanted to explain to a complete newcomer how to do conditionals, I would have to say, well, directives, there are the sort of attributes. The directives for Angular start with ng, and you have ng if, and it's a template directive or structural directive which does this and that, and there's just a lot of stuff to talk about it.
Yeah, but
the part right now, we are in the period that it's a bit hard because we have these two versions of the same things, and if you're trying to teach someone, you would have to say, okay, this is the new and good way, but also be mindful there's this old way. In the wild, you might encounter projects that have this old way using But at some point, everyone will move on, and we will have a simpler framework, essentially.
Yeah, I'm really happy with all the changes that we have. But yeah, I think also about all these people even starting and having, do we have to use signals or not signals, or what is control for structural directives? Because the issue is that we have official tutorial content, but a lot of people, really a lot of people, have no idea about these tutorials. I'm answering to questions on Reddit, Discord every day, and a lot of people have no idea about this content, and they end up looking on YouTube, looking on any of the stuff. There are two issues. A lot of stuff is deprecated in a way that focusing on old content, and we have a lot of fake content today due to AI. People, I saw a post,
Tell
an
me.
article yesterday about selector lists, release in Angular 20. So in Angular 20, there was
Wait, what?
selector lists. So they were able to make performance stats to explain how to use selector lists, how to wrap a non-selector list component in a selector list, how to use different use cases. The thing is, selector
It
list
does do it.
not really that. And that's a big article with it's just a piece of bullshit. Sorry, it's just a piece of
No. I mean,
and
AI slop.
yeah, from the outside, when you have no idea, and people are just using the right words in the way that it feels professional, you might find fake information, and you have just no idea.
Yeah, and sometimes you encounter articles that aren't like very obviously wrong, but then you read it and you feel it's kind of AI generated and so on. I don't like that. I'm pretty positive on AI. I'm learning right now a lot of stuff to work with it. And yes, Michael, this is sort of medium moment. I think they're pay to read every single damn article is not a very good model to combine with, oh, let's generate a lot of content on the fly without even thinking about anything and posting it in hopes of making some money. But yeah, I think there's the content problem. So yeah, it's a struggle. It's a period that hopefully will get a bit better. We should contribute to it.
We have way more content that we were used with
Yeah,
Angular.io.
yeah,
And we have a question from Bababak about,
yeah.
do you
We
know
know
the
about comprehensive
course?
course on Angular 20.
I'd say it depends on the way that you prefer to learn. And some people prefer to read, people prefer to listen. And if you prefer to listen, I never tried it, but I heard a lot about Maximilian course on Udemy,
Yeah.
which is quite well known.
Oh, I
And
think he had a course on NX, right?
or maybe
I think I watched that one.
he makes a lot of course.
NX with Angular
Yeah,
specifically.
and if you prefer to read, there is the Angular Ninja book
Yeah. Yeah.
from two great people, Cedric Exbroyer, who is an Angular collaborator, helping a lot of the Angular CLI repository, and Jean-Baptiste Nizet. They're making training content, and it's a ebook, and that's the only book that I recommend because they own their platform. So on each new version, they create an updated version of it. And if you paid already, it's free for you. So you don't have to pay for any new version. You don't have to wait for an editor to get a new version. And for most books, a book which is released today will be about Angular 19 maybe. They're not in 6. So that's really, if you prefer to read the only content that I will recommend here, Angular Ninja book. And they're making a great job on it. And if you want to be up to date, it's really the right one.
Really nice list of books and tutorials there. You could also try my book, but it won't be about Angular 20 sadly because it came out in January. But it will be about Angular everything from 12 to 18, so that's still not that bad. But it's a paperback book. What can
I don't
need the second edition.
I don't mean all the stuff is bad, but I know that it's about the way that books are published, and it makes it hard for you also to be in sync.
It's not only hard. It's not only hard in terms of like, the book is out, we cannot obviously update the paper versions. It's also hard in terms of there's a big process going on with the review part of the book, and that process can be really long. And especially with these Angular scheduled releases that you get on new versions, even if the new version isn't a big one. For example, if you take Angular 19, it's not a very big release, right? Not many breaking changes, some dev preview things that are still like, it's okay not to mention in the book if they are like experimental, right? They might be removed, for example. But now you come out with a book, your book says, okay, Angular version 18, but oh man, Angular 19 is now the new version. Your book is already outdated, kind of like numerically. And I was writing about signals while the team was developing signals. I wrote a big section about the mutate method on signals. If you haven't heard about mutate method, because it doesn't exist, it got removed in the developer preview process, as we have mentioned. And we have someone persistent asking about the future of MCP in Angular. When we finish this live stream, you could watch the recording. If you missed that, we talked about the MCP servers provided by Angular and about how you can use it.
About MCP, so they have an MCP server which about providing you up-to-date documentation, best practices. The Angular team is really working on AI on two aspects. So there is the developer experience part with the MCP server, and maybe other stuff I don't know about for us. And if you take a look at the documentation, there is also a part about AI in your applications as a feature, and there will be in 2 weeks there will be a live event from the Angular team about Angular plus AI about using Angular, obviously using Gemini, using Google ones.
Today they announced that now AI Studio with Gemini is very capable of generating Angular projects, and I think that's a very good piece of news for everyone like me who was kind of mad about, I asked Gemini to do something in front end and it generated React code. Like, bro, you should do Angular.
But about the MCP part, it's about multiple features inside. There are resources, for example, where you just expose data. There are tools where you can make resources are like a gate request to an API, and tools for post, update, delete. And I don't see many additional features for the MCP because we already have the Angular CLI. So I mean, if we want to build to serve, if we were still on a Webpack, like we have to make our own Webpack configuration, there is nothing at all like in. It would make sense to say, okay, I want you to I have all these files, these JavaScript files everywhere, and make them all related, build them with Webpack, and that we already have a lot of tools in the Angular application. So, or it might be about connecting. Or it might. One option could be to have I don't know if with Firebase they made an MCP server, but it might be integrating the MCP server Firebase into the Angular one. But I think it will still be about the scope, about Angular itself. They don't have that much connection with other project or stuff around.
I think we did a new record. We beat a new record. It was easy because we only had one live stream previously. We did an hour and 45 minutes already, and it was a really amazing discussion. I personally learned a lot from talking to you, Jérôme. So thank you very much. I bet people got a lot of useful information too. And we did our best trying to answer the questions. And if you're watching right now and you missed the opportunity to ask a question, you didn't miss, feel free to post your questions till we are live on Twitter, we're live on LinkedIn and YouTube and Twitch. So yeah, post your questions in comments. We will circle back if you have more. But please have mercy on me. It's almost 10 p.m. here. I'm in a bad time zone to do live stream. But this was great. This was great. Thanks everyone for watching. Thanks Jérôme for coming. It was really great discussion.
Thank you.
See you all on the next one. Hopefully next week around this time. So, bye.
Bye.